нь одоо хятадд гэхэд 1 тэрбум байна. Хэдэн зуун сая домен нэр англи одоо үсгэллийг ашиглаад бүртгэгдсэн. Гэтэл тэнд одоо шинээр англи үсгэллийг ашиглаад домен нэр бүртгэх гэхлээр олигтой домен нэр оролдохгүй байхгүй. Яаж вэ гэхээр баба явлаа, баахан тоо явлаа, цэг, cn, цэг одоо юу гэдэг иймэрхүү болчиход байна. Тэнгүүл хятад энийг болохоор өөрөөр ашиглаад өөрсдийнхээ ханз скрипт дээр бол аль хэдийн мэйл хаягууд болон домен нэрийн үйлчлэгчнүүдийг нэвтрээд бол амжилттай явж байгаа нэг кейс байна. Тэгэхээр ингээд бид нар ингээд өөрсдөө ингээд хөгжүүлээд явааддаг. Гэтэл нөгөө нэг интернетийн урсгалыг маш их ашиглаж байгаа Google, Facebook, Apple энэ төр нөгөө регистр хийгээд аккаунтуудаа бүртгэхэд бидний нөгөө үүсгэж байгаа кирилл доменер дээр сүлсэн имэйл хаягуудыг магадгүй ханз дээр сүлсэн, хинди дээр сүлсэн, араб дээр сүлсэн скриптүүдийг дэмжихгүй байл яах вэ гэж те. Тэгэхээр тэднэрт бол маш том мессеж яах өгөх хэрэгтэй байгаа. Энэ бол тусдаа яригдах асуудал. За тэгэхээр дараагийн интернетийн 1 тэрбум хэрэглэгчийг оруулж ирэхин тулд энэ зүйл маш их хүчин нөлөө үзүүлэх юм байгаамаа. Та бүхэнд болохоор өнөөдөр энэ магадгүй шин зүйлийг зүгээр танилцуулах шуурмаар байсан. Илүү техник талаас холбогдохыг хүсвэл хурлын дараа холбогдож болно шүү. За ашигласан материал бол байна. ICANN болон RFC, Postfix-ийн иймэрхүү линкүүд байна. Тэгээд за асуулт байна уу? Тусцаа ингээ юм дуусчлаа. За баска. Баскад микрофон. Микрофон байна уу?
За сонирхолтой ихтгэл байна. Надад нэг асуулт байна. Одоо email security gateway-г одоо cloud үйлчлэгээр шилжүүл явж байгаа. Тэгэхээр бид нар энэ scripting language email gateway-ээр дамжуулангууд энэ үйлчлэгээ үзүүлж байгаа бусад байгууллагууд дэмжигдэх болов уу? Эсвэл spam гэж орж ирэх болов уу? Тэр дээр ямар нэгэн туршлага байна уу?
Одоо энэ ID-н дээр сүрсэн email одоо үүсгээд host provider хийгээд бусад нөхдүүдтэй харилцахад нөгөөд маань spam гэж үзэх үү гэж юу?
Тэгээ нэгдүгээрт тийм, хоёрдугаарт нөгөө зарим байгууллага spam-аас хэрэглэхэд бол email cloud үйлчлэгээнүүд ашиглаж gateway үйлчлэгээ. За. Тэгээ тэдгээрүүдээр дамжуулаад явангууд scripting энэ домейнууд дээр асуудал үүсэх болов уу гэж.
Аха. За зарим нэг дээр нүүснэ. Зарим нэг дээр нүүсэхгүй. Одоо энэ дээр юу ихтгэх гээд байгаа юм бэ? Mass adoption буюу нийтээр ингээ хүлээн зөвшөөрөх нэг юм бодлогын нэг асуудал үлдчихэд байгаа. За тэр бодлогын асуудлыг хаана хилцээд хаана ярилцдаг вэ гэхээр нөгөө ICANN, IANA-гийн том конференсүүд дээр яг дэлхийд даяараа хүлээн зөвшөөрөө. За энийг бүх одоо технологийн компаниудад хүлээн зөвшөөрөх бодлогыг хэрэгжүүлэх үү гэх мэтчлэн ингээд хэрэгжүүлнэ. Гэхдээ миний туршиж үзсэн туршилтуудаас G-Suite зарим XM, Postfix цаанаа суурин дээр нь ашиглаж байгаа mail сервисүүд бол асуудалгүй ашиглаж байгаа. Тэр нь бол нөгөө cloud email gateway-гээр бол дамжиж байгаа зүйлүүд бол асуудалгүй байгаа. Хамгийн гол нь mass adoption хийхийг хүлээгээд байна. Бас энийг хурдлуулах асуудал байгаад байгаа. Гэхдээ бол амжилттай кейсүүд гэвэл энэтхэг Араб, Казахстан, Хятадд бол одоо аль хэдийн ороод эхэлж байна гэсэн үг.
Хоёр дахь асуулт нь болохоор нөгөө домен нэрийг хүссэн болгон хүссэн домен нэр авах боломжтой гоё. Эсвэл одоо нөгөө англиар Gmail-ээр ашиглаж байгаа бусад байгууллагын нэрийг script-ээр авчлаа гэж бодвол янз бүрийн spam ч юм уу эсвэл hacking ч юм уу хийх боломжтой байна л да.
Зөв наад чинь ингэж ойлголоо. Жишээ нь юу байгаа байхгүй? Sex.mn гэдэг домен нэр байна. Sex.mn. За тэгэнгүүт монголоор энийг тэ бас sex.mon гэдэг ч юм уу sex.mn гэдэг нөгөө C үсэгчлээ, E үсэгчлээ, K үсэгчлээ ингэж ашиглавал асуудал үүсгэх гэж хэлж байна.
Үгүй. Одоо жишээлбэл зарим нэг байгууллагын нэр байлаа гэхэд жишээ нь System Center.mn гэдэг домен ахыг тэрийг монголоор System Center.mon гэдэг хэлчихвэл тэр манай байгууллагын тэр нэрийг манайх зөвхөн эзэмших хэрэгтэй байгаа юу? Эсвэл өөр байгууллага авах хэрэгтэй байгаа юу? Дурын юм бол авах уу гэж байна.
Бидний early adoption буюу нөгөө эрт үеийн хэрэгжүүлэлтэн дээр болохоор Mobicom, Innovation гэдэг юм уу тийм ээ? Эдгээр байгууллагуудад аль хэдийн санал болгосон. Дээрээс нь хэрвээ танах систем центр байл гэхэд танах систем центр.mon гэдэг домен нэрийг бүрэн эзэмших хэрэгтэй байгаа гэсэн. Хин нэгэн бүртгүүлэх гээд ороод ирэхэд манай мэдээллийн бааз хүйсээс бол танаа домен нэр байгаа учраас эмэн байгаа учраас энэ Монгол ашиглах боломжгүй гэж гарч ирэх юм. Яг нь одоохондоо бол зөвхөн Монголд ID-нтэй холбоотойгоор хэлэхэд одоохондоо Монголд бол хүн ам цөөхөн байна тий 3 сая байна. Яг нь ирээдүйд энэ чинь 10, 20, 30, 40 жилийн дараа хэдэн сая хүн болох юм бэлээ тийм ээ. Домен нэрийн хэрэглээ хэр их хомигдох юм бэлээ. Тэрнээс шалтгаалж бол бид нар энэ зүйлийг одоо эхлүүлэх нь маш зөв гэж миний өнцгөөс бол харж байгаа. Өөр асуулт байна уу? Is there any question from me? Okay, thank you. За. Анар Oh sorry.
Сайн байна уу? Юм уу? За их хэл дээр домой ашиглана гэх гээд байна тий. Тэгээд дэлхийн нийтээс тасрах гэдэг нь үү? Эсвэл дэлхийн нийтийн улсуудын монгол хэл заах гэдэг юм уу? Одоо хэрэглээгээ айгүй нэмэх гээд байна. Домой нэр хангалтгүй байна л гэж өөрөө тайлбарлаад багш шүү дээ тий. Тэгээд одоо монголоор мэйлээр бичээ, кириллээр бичлээ. Тэгээд гадны улсуудад харьцах ихээр тэрүүгээр заавалж харьцах хэрэгтэй юу? Тэрийг ер нь яаж хараад би одоо л ингэж нэвтрүүлж байгаа улсуудыг харах юм бол илүү нөгөө юмыг хязгаарлсан хятад ч гэдэм үү, Казахстан ч гэдэм иргэдээ хянах гэсэн улсуудын юу харагдаад байна л
да. Иргэдээ хянана.
Тийм, одоо юу гэдэг хязгаарлагдмал яг өөрсдөө интернетэнд баг улс орондоо байх гэж байгаа юм уу? Тиймэрхүү юм харагдаад эсвэл тиймэрхүү юм байна уу? Яг зорилгыг би сайн ойлгохгүй юм байна.
Окей. Тэгэхээр ийм байна. Ерхий яг суурнаас нэрх юм бол сүүлийн 100 жилд хүн амын өсөлт өмнө хизэж байж байгаагаар огцом өсөлт үзүүлсэн байна л да. За энэ дээр суурлаад хүн амын өсөлт цаашаа юм огцом өсөлтөөр цаашаа явах юм байна. Тэгвэл нэг энэ нэрний ашиглалт маань бол өөрөө хязгаарлагдмал болж эхэлж байгаа хгүй. Англи одоо үгчлэл гэдэг юм англи цагаан толгой бол энэ дэлхийн нийт хүн амын одоо домен нэр хаягдахад ямар нэгэн нэршлэл ашиглахад бол хязгаарлагдмал болж эхэлж байгаа учраас одоо эртнээс улсад өөрсдийн гэсэн энэ натив скриптээ бол энэ домен нэр болон ямар нэгэн интернет хаягдлалтан дээр бол ашиглаж эхэлж байгаа. Яг хуучин цаг үед интернет гэхээр ARPANET-ийн 2 компьютер IP-гаар холбогдож байгаа. Сүүлдээ нөгөөдгөө чэйжлэхээ болоод сүүлдээ IP-ийн хязгаарлалт дүүрээд ирэнгүүт л домен нэр оруулж ирсэн шиг одоо домен нэрийн маань энэ хэрэглээ хязгаарлагдмал болж ирж байгаа цаг үед бол эргүүлээд өөрсдийн улс орныгийнхаа скриптүүдийг ашиглаж эхэлж байгаа ийм нэг кейс байна. Яг нь Монголын хувьд бол яг энийг шууд ярихад бол одоохондоо биднэрт бол хангалттай нэрийн нөөцлөлт байна. Гэхдээ бол ирээдүйд магадгүй бус оронтой зэрэгцээд явж байхад бол гэмгүй гэж бодож байна. Дээрээс нь таны асууж байгаа асуулт бол магадгүй хятад гэдэг юм уу вэ? Эсвэл Казахстан гэдэг юм уу? Өөрсдийнхөө улс орны иргэдүүдийг хянах, магадгүй сүлжээг дотроо барих, магадгүй ямар домен нэр хайлт хийгдэж чинь, ямар вебсайтууд илүү хандж чинь. Түрүүний Jeff Houston-гийн илтгэл дээр ярьжсэн шиг тийм одоо хэрэглэгчтэй хянах зүйл бол одоохондоо байхгүй. Ялангуяа тийм зорилго бол агуулгааг байгаа. За жишээ нь энэ Монголын зүгээс ярих юм бол энэ бол зүгээр л чөлөөд одоо contribute тусалцаа хийж, develop хийж байгаа нэг жишээ байгаа. Ямар нэгэн засгийн газар ч гэдэг юм уу тийм хөндлөнгийн бол нөлөө байхгүй гэсэн үг. За өөрөөс бол за.
Сайн байна. За ерөнхийдөө сая өмнөх асуулттай төстэй Монголыг гадаадныхад заах гэдэг байгаа юм уу гэж тий. Яагаад
бэлэн Монгол хэлээ заана гэж юу?
Тий, яг гэдэг ихлээр гаднаас юу гэдэг манай кириллик домен руу одоо ингээд захиа бичих гэхлээр нөгөөдөл чинь одоо кириллээр бичиж сурсан байх хэрэгтэй ч юм уу. Одоо биднээс гадагшаа одоо хятад ханз ашигласан доменоор руу бүхий одоо имэйл рүү имэйл бичихийн тулд бас тэрийг бичих шаардлага гарах гэдэг нь шүү дээ. Гэтэл биднээс ханзаар юм бичиж чадах билүү те. Тэгэхээр энэ дээр ямар нэгэн тийм ирээдүйд ч юм уу одоо эсвэл яригдж байгаа ч юм уу тийм шийдэл тийм конверсашн хийх тийм аргачлалууд байгаа юм болов уу?
Яг одоогийн байдлаар яг үннийг хэлэхэд бол энэ дээр би өөрөө ч мэдэхгүй байна. Энийг харин мэдхийн тулд нөгөө дэлхийн өнцөг болон бүрээс ирсэн инженерүүд, экспертүүд жил болгон цуглаж нөгөө конференц дээр энэ зүйлийг ярилцах байхгүй. Нөгөө түрүүний яриадсан ICANN энэ төр дээр бол стандартыг батлах хэрэгтэй. Магадгүй цаашид ийм нөхцөл гарвал ямар шийдэл хэрэгтэй вэ гэдгийг бол мэд хэрэгтэй л дээ. Би яг үннийг хэлэхэд бас өөрөө энэ зүйлд шинээр одоо ингээд оролцоод магадгүй сонирхоод цааш тэр боломж байл хөгжүүлчихъя л гэж явж байгаа.
За баярлалаа.
За өндөрлөө баярлалаа.
За анхцаадаа баярлалаа, маш сонирхолтой илтгэл байлаа. За now our next speaker is Paeps from FreeBSD. He'll talk about stopping spam at FreeBSD. So
take the microphone and the gadgets. Which way is forward and which way is backwards? All right. Hello. My name is Philip. I'm from my Mongolian is almost as good as Jeff's, so I'll speak English instead. I was reading the slides of the previous presenter, and I'm afraid that internationalized domain names is the least of the problems the FreeBSD project has with email. I did check that we do accept SMTP UTF-8, but I think the mail probably disappears into the voids very slightly later. I am with the FreeBSD project. Well, I wear many hats, but for my sins in the FreeBSD project, I've been punished with the postmaster hat, which means I get to deal with a lot of spam and a whole bunch of servers and software which is very poorly documented and very interesting. The FreeBSD project has been around since 1993, which is probably a bit longer than some of the people in this room. And we've been accepting email since then. The entire open source project is based on email, and we do process quite a lot of it. We've got, as of last week, we have 1,600 email addresses. This is just a line count of the aliases file on mnOG1.freebsd.org, which I'll talk about in a moment. Most of these are humans, or what qualifies as human in the open source community. There's a couple of alias expanders. So we've got Postmaster, which expands to me, and a couple of other reprobates. The core team, security officer, those are alias expanders, which they're just addresses in the aliases file, which expands to many other addresses. There's no archiving, there's no rewriting of headers. It's just an email comes in for Postmaster, and it immediately goes out to 3 or 4 other people. An email comes in for security officer, it immediately goes out to 3 or 4 other people. But most of these addresses are human. We've got 206 mailing lists. That's a lot of mailing lists. And there's about 46,000 people subscribed to these mailing lists. This makes the FreeBSD project very attractive to spammers, because you've just got to get one email through and you've got it to 46,000 subscribers. That's a good target. So as good internet citizens, we try to not accept too much spam, because otherwise our 46,000 subscribers will probably dwindle into nothing. Unfortunately, as we'll see, it's almost impossible to stop all spam. There are certain categories of spam which we can stop right at the gates, but we cannot ever stop everything. It's just not possible. Just to give you an idea of numbers, we get about 1 million messages per day hitting mnOG1.freebsd.org. That's messages. We get about 8 million connection attempts per day. So of the 1 million messages, for every message that arrives, there's 8 connections that don't even get accepted by the mail server. That's a lot of messages. If we were to accept all of those, that would be 8 million messages times 46,000 subscribers getting hammered. We only send, only in inverted commas, we only send about 300,000 messages. So 1 million messages get in, 300,000 messages go out. That's, you have to do the math here. 46,000 subscribers, 300,000 messages. Clearly, some mail gets lost. And the mail that gets lost is the spam, and mail that looks like spam. Unfortunately, we do get some false positives. Other way, not there. This way. All right, so what have we got? We've got some mail servers. We have mnOG1.freebsd.org. This is the MX record for freebsd.org. It also runs the spam filter. This is the machine you will hit when you try to send an email to anything at freebsd.org. It runs postfix. It runs the latest version of postfix, 3.4 point something. And it runs something called rspamd, which I'll talk about in a moment. And that one processes 1 million messages per day and drops, 8 million others. On the other side of the system is mx2.freebsd.org, and all mail that comes from a freebsd.org address should come from here. Unfortunately, we have no control over our users, and anyone can send email from anywhere in the world with a freebsd.org address. But any mail should eventually one day leave through here. We have a relay server which FreeBSD developers can use if they like, but they don't have to. I'll talk a little bit about the advantages of sending through MX2 later on. This one runs postfix and gets about 300,000 messages per day. So this machine only processes mail coming in from the project and mail coming from developers who use our authenticated relay, which I won't talk too much about. Right, we have a couple of other mail servers. I'll talk about these two. We put Mailman on a separate machine. I think the previous presenter mentioned Mailman. What he didn't mention is that it's an incredible resource hog. It's written in Python, and it's, you know, if you've got like 1,000 subscribers, it's no problem. 2,000 subscribers, no problem. As soon as you hit 40,000 subscribers, it takes a while to grind through the queue sometimes. So we put that on a separate jail on a separate physical machine. It used to live on another continent, but, you know, or the other side of the continent, but now it's on the same side as MX1. The only thing this machine does is mailing lists. It runs postfix and it runs Mailman, and all it does is send mail. It also runs Spam Assassin, which is legacy, and the only reason it runs Spam Assassin is because I haven't been able to figure out how to stop it running Spam Assassin. Mailman is reasonably well documented, but there are things in there that are hairy, and I should speak more slowly, but I don't have much time. We also finally have mailarchive.freebsd.org, and this gets the archives. Mailman can archive messages as well, but we've discovered that if we use Mailman's built-in archiver, Pipermail, the mail processing slows down even further. Also, our archiving solution is a little bit more pretty than the built-in Pipermail. I think we also have Pipermail turned on in recent years, but Mail Archive is what turns up on doc.freebsd.org if you send an email to freebsd.org. Right. Conceptually, this is how mail goes through our system, and this diagram is hideously incomplete, so I just couldn't figure out where all the arrows went. In theory, email comes in through mx1.freebsd.org, and we check whether it's from inside the system. If it's from inside the system, it'll either be from Freefall or from SMTP, and it'll go out to the internet. Done. We check, there's an arrow missing. We actually check whether it's spam before we send it to the internet, just to be sure that we're not originating spam. There's also some rate limiting going on, but mail comes into MX1 from inside the system. If it's from inside the system, it goes out to the internet, and that's very quick. It is also possible that mail comes in from a FreeBSD user who's using our relay, in which case we can send it to Mailman if it's to a mailing list. That's easy. Mail coming in from the internet, which is not from us, goes to our first line of defense, post screen, which I'll talk about in a moment, this one will reject about the 7 million messages. This is going to reject most of the mail coming into the system. If you've passed this set of sharp teeth, we're going to send your mail to our spamd. Our spamd is going to check all sorts of content filtering and other things, and if it fails, there's an arrow missing, we're going to discard your email, or if it looks reasonably okay, but we are not sure whether it's not spam, we're going to tell you, we're going to temp fail you, and we're going to tell you, please try again when it looks a little bit less spammy. And finally, the message goes to Freefall, which is our mail host, or it goes to Mailman, which hosts our mailing lists. So that's a conceptual diagram. There's some arrows missing, but this is roughly how it works. Right, so I should slow down some more. Historically, we ran... Am I not allowed to come too close to the slides? Okay. Historically, we ran postfix and Spam Assassin. Has anyone used Spam Assassin before? Do you like it? Have you tried figuring out how to configure it? Right. So Spam Assassin is written in Perl. It's written in, as far as I can tell, 1990s Perl. It's not terrible. It's very good at doing regular expression matching and checking for longer and longer strings to see if it's spam. So if your message contains things like, "Hi, I'm a prince from Nigeria and I have several $1 million which I would really, really like to give to you," Spam Assassin is going to be good at finding it. The more things you want it to check, the slower it's going to be. So we also used to have lots and lots of dirty hacks which tried to stop the mail before we fed it to Spam Assassin. So we had regular expression tables in postfix that went to check for, "Hi, I am a Nigerian prince and I have several $1 million for you." So that email didn't even hit Spam Assassin because Spam Assassin is very, very slow. Currently, we are in the process of replacing Spam Assassin with our Spamd, and we've actually done it on MX1. It's still running on Mailman, as I said. So we've got Postfix, still the same stuff, still running post screen, which I'll get to, and still got lots of dirty hacks, but I'm killing them every time I find 5 or 6 minutes in a train or in an airplane or in a lounge somewhere. I just go and delete configuration files. And our Spamd is what runs most of our spam checks. So our first line of defense is something called post screen. This is an SMTP proxy, which means it accepts your SMTP connection. So I am an SMTP client. I say, "Hello, I am so-and-so. I would like to send an email to someone at FreeBSD.org." PostScreen is going to sniff at this handshake and go, "Hey, does this smell like a real mail client or like a real MTA, or is this someone trying to send us spam?" It's going to do, it's going to basically be a mostly compliant SMTP implementation, but it's going to have some sneaky hacks in there to see if you respond like a real mail server. If you don't respond well, it's going to either temp fail you or it's going to just discard you. This is 75% of the connections are just dropped here because one of the tests PostScreen does is it checks if the client will wait for it to finish its greeting. So SMTP protocol requires that the server greets the client and the client greets the server. The client is not allowed to speak before the server is done speaking. Just putting a 1 second sleep in there kills about, several tens of percents of botnets right out the gate, just done. We drop their connection, we're done talking to them. Other things they check is pipelining and just basic SMTP protocol checks. As long as the spammers are stupid, they're never going to get their mail through to us. The second thing we do in Postfix with PostScreen is we check real-time black hole lists, or RBLs. And this is, following the age-old IETF principle, just put it in the DNS. There's a whole bunch of RBLs out there. The main one we use is Spamhaus. Philip is crying in the corner. Spamhaus is the main one we use. It updates very frequently. If you're listed in Spamhaus, you're just not going to get email through to us. Some of these RBLs are free, so the ones we use, Spamhaus, Spam Eating Monkey, and Barracuda, which are all free for non-commercial use, and they also have a free tier. If you're sending them fewer than 300,000 queries a day, you can just use them for free, which is nice. But you must monitor the functionality of the RBL, because if the DNS stops responding or there's anything wrong with your DNS configuration, you're going to drop all email from the entire internet. And that's not great. Well, most of it is spam anyway, but some of it is real email, so you shouldn't drop all of it. A little bit of a digression on Spamhaus. They've got a whole collection of different blacklists. The well-known one is Zen, which contains, it's a blacklist or a black hole list of known spammers, botnets, malware senders, dynamic address space, things that should never ever be sending email. Spamhaus also has what they call a zero reputation domain list, which is a list of domain names that have been recently registered. So if a domain has not been seen on the internet for more than 24 hours or more than a day or more than a week, it's going to end up on this blacklist, which is something to keep in mind if you've just started a new company, registered a new domain, and you want to start sending email. You are going to appear in this zero reputation domain. What the FreeBSD project does is we assign a score to these things with our Spamd. If you're on zero reputation domain, you're just going to get a lower score. And the domain blacklist is things like malware that include a domain are going to be listed here. It's very reliable and there's very few false positives. The downside is if you're sending or if you're receiving several million messages a day, Spamhaus is going to charge you for using their lists. For us, as an open source project, that's not a big problem, but we have run into their limits once or twice. Other things we test in our mail flow is SPF and DKIM. I think the previous speaker mentioned DKIM a little bit. SPF is another one of these IETF things, just put it in the DNS. It's where you put the policy on which servers are sending mail for your domain in the DNS. I just copied trouble.is from the DNS. I could have looked at FreeBSD.org as well. This policy, but the FreeBSD.org one is much longer. This policy says that any email you see from trouble.is is either going to come from this legacy IP address or from this IPv6 address. Any mail you see from trouble.is coming from another address is by definition spam. Easy enough. DKIM is another one of these DNS things where you publish a public key in the DNS and you use the private key to sign your headers and your bodies, and it allows receiving servers to check whether the email was actually sent through your servers or whether someone else is impersonating your domain. We check both SPF and DKIM on mx1.freebsd.org. If you're not valid, we're just going to drop your email. Easy enough. Our spamd now. So our spamd is what we're moving to in FreeBSD.org for our spam filtering. It's an open source spam filter originally developed by Rambler. They're a Russian ISP. They have several million mailboxes. And they were sick and fed up with Spam Assassin, so they wrote their own. It's got a friendly open source license, which makes it extensible and convenient to hack. It's written in C and in Lua, so the core of our spamd is written in C, which makes it very fast, unlike Spam Assassin, which is written in Perl, which is very slow. And the Lua is a scripting language. Has anyone ever used Lua? It's popular in the gaming world and also in the spam world now. Is a script, the anti-spam world. It's a table-based language which allows you to extend C modules really easily. It's high performance and actively maintained, again, unlike Spam Assassin. What appeals to us in our spamd is that it's implemented as a milter, which means it's part of our mail flow. It just lives inside postfix, and it's a part of our SMTP conversation. That allows us to discard spam at SMTP time and prevent backscatter. So backscatter happens when you reject an email, when you don't reject an email, but when you accept an email and then bounce it back. You have no idea where to send the bounce, so you're just going to be sending spam to an innocent victim on the other side of the internet. If you can reject the spam before you have to generate a bounce, you are not going to generate backscatter. The Lua extensibility is very handy if you've got really weird mail flows like FreeBSD.org. We have some emails that go through our mail server 3 times for reasons. And our spamd also has built-in support for real-time blacklists. We don't use their real-time blacklist support because we just do it in postfix. But if you're running some other mail server or you have reasons not to check blacklists in postfix, you can do it in our spamd. And it has really good content checks like Bayesian filtering, it does neural networks, it does all sorts of other stuff. The content checks do get expensive because they're also regular expression lookups, but they're a lot faster than the one Spam Assassin does because they're compiled in. And the whole system just learns, and it's got some neural networks built in, fast ones, medium ones, and slow ones. So depending on how spammy the mail smells, our spamd is going to do more or fewer checks on them. It's fast, and it also caches quite aggressively. So we find that on our mail flow, we don't even notice it consuming any resources on MX1. Postfix is still the main process on that server. Our spamd also gives you useful monitoring. Again, unlike Spam Assassin, this is just a copy-paste from something that hit a spam trap. Things highlighted in red, which you probably can't see on the back of the room, are things that make this mail suspect, and things highlighted in green make this mail better. So this email had, I don't think the laser is going to help. This email matched a Bayesian filter with a confidence level of 100%. This is definitely spam. It's never going to go anywhere. It also hit a spam trap, so it's definitely not going to go anywhere. It's also listed in one of the virus RBLs, so this email was not just spam. It also contained a virus. and it hit a neural network. So we've seen a lot of spam like this before. It's hit a short neural network, so we've seen a lot of spam like this recently. Our SpamD has a couple of neural networks. The short one is messages it's seen in the last hour. It's a medium one, messages it's seen in the last day, and then a long one where it goes several weeks. Other things in this message. Oh, it failed SPF. It has a fake in reply to header. It's spam. It's ugly, but it did get the MIME structure good. It validated static. It validated as a valid MIME email message. Very good. This is roughly what MX1 looks like as of this morning. We rejected 25%. Just out the door. We didn't even accept their message. It just goes away. The 48% clean is a little bit suspect, but that includes all of the mail which we generate internally. So that's cron jobs, all mail that we've accepted locally, all of the nightly spam from all of our machines, all of our build bots, all of that stuff is just clean. The probable spam is things which we don't really know, so we just tag it with a header. This might be spam, and then other spam filters down the stream when you accept our mail can go and reject that. Gray listed means that we temp failed you. We're going to ask the client server to retry sending the email, and we'll look at it later. So, I'm not done fixing spam for FreeBSD.org. I was chatting with Hans in the car yesterday. He's getting a lot of spam from us. I would like to look at some of the spam he's getting from us to see if I can reject it. There are some things we'll never be able to fix there. So some spam email just looks too plausible to catch, or will catch too many false positives. But there are still some things in the FreeBSD.org cluster which I can do. One thing is that a lot of email passes through MX1 several times for historical reasons. All email from the internet, all email from within our own systems, and worse is email from mailing lists to our own users goes through MX1 3 times because we accept the email from the internet. That's once. We send it on to our mail host Treefall, which goes and expands the alias to wherever that person has forwarded the email. Then it goes to the mailing list, then it comes back again, and then it finally goes out the internet. So it hits it 3 times. I think I've seen emails hitting the server 6 times. I haven't quite figured out that mail. So currently we have configured our SpamD to whitelist mail from us, which means that if a spam message gets in, it's going to get out. If you can get a spam message in to MX1 somehow, it's going to get out again. So I want to improve the outbound spam filtering, and I would recommend that to everyone running an email system, especially an ISP. Please check outbound mail for spam too. Don't just do your spam filtering on the inbound direction, also check it on the outbound direction, because a user is going to send spam, a user is going to be part of a botnet. FreeBSD users are not very likely to be part of a botnet, but there are several avenues of getting mail into FreeBSD, and if we then send it out as clean, it's 46,000 users potentially. We don't want to do that. And I'm doing ongoing simplification, so that the key thing when you're filtering spam is you want to try to keep your mail flows simple. If there's several paths through your mail server, it's going to just, it gets difficult to figure out where mail is coming from and how to check whether it's spam.